Dundalk TV is with Robin Grammer at his Annapolis office, and we came to talk to Robin about the Man o' War Shoals bill that he had proposed earlier this year and during the session, and we would like to find out what has transpired with that bill.
Sure, absolutely. For the record, Delegate Robin Grammer, represent District 6, that's southeastern Baltimore County. I'd be happy to talk about our bill in regard to the Man o' War Shoals. So my bill was House Bill 1455, which prohibited the dredging of Man o' War Shoal. So here's the backstory about why this is important. A bill was passed 9 years ago or so that requires the state to find, do research and where possible or where they see feasible to dredge shell for the purpose of remediating and restoring the oyster population in the Chesapeake Bay. Now, this is not something new. This is something the state of Maryland has done for a long time. It's the 1960s. Historically, the state of Maryland did this for about 40 years. They dredged these natural resources, these shoals in the upper bay, the upper Chesapeake Bay. And the purpose, for the entirety of the time was to take the shell, put it down in the lower bay, and try and restore the oyster population. Well, they did this for 40 years. I think it was 1966 until about 2006. And we still, after all the dredging, they destroyed all those natural resources, and it has not fixed the problem. We've spent millions of dollars, we've dredged millions of tons of shell, and we're nowhere closer. So recently, within the last year, the state of Maryland has filed for a license to dredge Man o' War Shoal. Now, Man o' War Shoal is the biggest natural three-dimensional shoal in the Chesapeake Bay, and there's only one, and it takes thousands of years for these shoals to form. The Man o' War Shoal is used by local businesses, local recreational fishers, predominantly the people of southeastern Baltimore County and southeastern Baltimore City. So what we're going to do here is something that has not worked in fixing our problems after they executed this dredging for 40 years. They've destroyed all the other resources in the upper bay, all of those natural areas where fish congregated and they were great fishing spots. They're all gone. So now they want to start dredging Man o' War Shoal. And we keep saying the same thing year after year. We're at 1% of our historic levels of oysters in the Chesapeake Bay. And here's how I look at this. If you've done something for 40 years and you're destroying your natural resources and you're spending millions of dollars, you should probably stop because it's not fixing our problem. Man o' War Shoal is important to the people of southeastern Baltimore County. It's a natural resource. If we do this, we're never going to get it back. So that's why I proposed House Bill 145, which would essentially prohibit the practice, the dredging at Man o' War Shoal and protect our natural resources. It's really odd. They didn't even give this bill a vote. In previous years, the chairman of the Natural Resources Subcommittee was the sponsor of the bill. So he thought it was a great idea to prohibit this dredging in previous years. But now that we're sponsoring the bill, they're not even going to give it a vote. I found that really interesting. There's been a lot of interesting election year politics down here. But you're only one person. We had a great hearing. I advise that everybody watch the hearing. We had a lot of people from the district come out, a lot of people that spoke to the importance of these natural resources and the science behind why this is not an effective course of action to take. Was really happy with our execution, but they didn't move on the bill. So we'll have to push that back a year, bring it back next session.
Okay, so right now it's pretty much tabled. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they didn't give it a vote, and they won't give it a vote. They're just going to put it in a drawer, and it's going to sit there. It's sine die. Right now it's 2:39 p.m., and I don't see them giving this a vote anytime in the next 9.5 hours.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad they aren't going to be moving forward with any dredging there. I'm certainly happy to hear that.
Just so everybody understands, the state may proceed with dredging, and that's the importance of the bill. The bill stops them from doing that.
Oh,
So
okay. Well,
I would keep an eye out in the news.
well, please keep us posted.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
will be right there with you,
Yeah.
and we'll do everything we can to
Hopefully-
keep everyone informed.
Yeah, hopefully they're not going to take any action until next year, and we'll have another shot at knocking this one down.
Okay. Now, where's the governor at on this particular
I don't think
project?
the governor took a position. I don't think so he's right now the state is statutorily mandated to execute this, and that's why you have to change the law.
Oh.
The law kind of forces the hand of the state, and that's what's pushing this whole thing forward. So the importance is to get the statute changed.
Okay, so if you get support through your constituents, and then you can forward that to the governor's office, would that help?
Absolutely. I think if Man-O-War Shoal is important to you, I would give the governor's office a ring and say, look, here's how I feel about this issue. Please stand up for me. Absolutely.
Well, you can guarantee that Dundalk TV is going to contact them.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we
you
will
so
be
much.
asking everybody we possibly can, and those watching this video to do the same.
Absolutely.
Now, Robin, was there anything else during the session that you wanted to speak about?
No, I that was the only thing I planned on speaking today. I will say I'm really happy about there's a big push for criminal justice reform. As we all know, there's a huge crime epidemic in Baltimore City. We ended up passing a bill, despite the objections of some members of the majority party, that it's essentially a tough one crime bill. It's increased penalties for people who distribute heroin. It broadens the scope of criminal law for firearms crimes. It increases penalties for child molesters, and it puts in place mandatory minimums for repeat violent offenders. And that's exactly what we need to take these guys off the streets who are essentially committing violent crimes and murders or shootings. They're doing it over and over again, and judges are letting them off the hook. That hasn't gotten the news coverage that I think it should. It's really big for us in the Baltimore region, but I think statewide it's really important. We need to take these guys off the streets who are just doing it over and over. And I was really happy to see that pass.
Well, thank you very much for doing the interview, and thank you very much for your leadership. I think you've been doing an outstanding job.
Thank you. Thanks for coming down.